Hello and welcome, my name is BetaRho, and this is Introducing the Gods. Today we look at Vamana, the 5th avatar of Vishnu. As you can tell from his title, Vamana is but one form that the god Vishnu took. He appeared, as he does in-game, as a small monk carrying a wooden umbrella. The monk asked the demon king Bali for a plot of land no bigger than 3 of his footsteps, to test the king's piousness. But Bali gave Vamana an entire island, failing the test. Vamana grew so large that he blotted out the sky and trampled the earth, the underworld, and the heavens. But Bali learned his lesson and offered his own head for Vamana's 3rd step. In-game, Vamana is tagged as a melee tank, and his stats are reflective of that. High health, high regen, and solid protection. As with all tanks, these are 3 stats you'll want to focus on throughout the game. Vamana's passive is Sleeping Giant, an ability that has 3 facets, 2 of which affect his ultimate. When not in his ultimate, taking damage reduces the cooldown of his ultimate by 1 second. When in his ultimate, taking damage increases the duration of the ultimate by a ½ second. And at all times, Vamana gains physical power equal to 15% of his physical protection, meaning that physical protection items are inherently power items for Vamana. His first ability is Clear the Path, which is his dash. It is a rather slow dash, though, nothing like Sobek's or Guan Yu's dashes. You can steer Vamana during it, and any enemy hit by your dash is both damaged and knocked into the air. It does a base of 70 damage, increasing by 40 each level, and adds 40% of your physical power. It has a 15-second cooldown, and I unlock it 3rd and level it 3rd. Vamana's second ability is Armored Umbrella, which is his nuke. It is a pure burst attack, offering nothing more than damage to enemies in a cone. But it is a solid nuke, especially for a god that is intended to be a tank. It does a base of 85 damage, increasing 55 each level, and adds 100% of your physical power. It has a reducing cooldown from 15 to 11 seconds, and I unlock it 2nd and level it 1st. His 3rd ability is Umbrella Ring, in which Vamana tosses his umbrella out like a boomerang. In addition to offering Vamana a way to damage enemies at a distance, the attack also has 2 fairly important debuffs. It reduces the enemy's movement and attack speeds, both by 25% for 3 seconds. It can apply the debuff on either leg of the umbrella's flight, and it hits for a base of 50 damage, increasing by 35 each level, and adding 20% of your physical power. It has a flat 13-second cooldown, and I unlock it 1st and level it 2nd. Vamana's ultimate is Colossal Fury, the infamous Big Baby. When cast, Vamana grows into a giant, gaining a number of buffs. He gains a base of 5 physical protection, increasing by 5 each level, and a base of 35 physical power, increasing by 20 each level. He also regains 5% of his maximum health every second, and he is immune to slows for the duration. On top of all this, his basic attack now damages in a small range around him, making him able to hit multiple enemies at once. It has a base duration of 6 seconds, and a base cooldown of 90 seconds, both affected by your passive. Vamana is an interesting character to build, as he can really be taken a few different ways. While hi-rez has him tagged as a tank, he can be built as an off-tank, in the same vein as an attack damage Odin. But for the purpose of this series, where I attempt to come up with a build that I feel is the best in most situations, I do prefer to build Vamana tanky in the beginning, but allowing him to build damage later. To do this, I start with reinforced boots. Then I get a Frostbound Hammer, for health, but also for enough damage so that I don't feel useless offensively early in the game. I then get a Hide of the Nemean Lion, for a high amount of physical protection, as well as health, and a very underrated passive, which reflects 25 of basic attack damage to the attacker as physical damage. Next, I get the recently retooled Ankh of the Golem. It grants lifesteal, a great attribute on Vamana, as well as health and attack speed. And its passive, which adds physical power equal to 1.5% of your health, is great on a tank. Next I get a Witchstone, granting more protection, more health, more attack speed, and a small amount of physical power, plus the enemy debuff. I finish it off with a Soul Eater, adding more lifesteal and health, plus additional attack speed and a teammate buff. By the end of this, you will certainly be a tank with a fairly massive health pool and good physical defense, but will be hitting surprisingly hard and fast. Some alternate items I tend to use are Void Blade, as a more offensive early item, Magi's Blessing, for magical protection and a unique passive, and Hide of the Leviathan, which is still a perfectly balanced protective item. In the end, Vamana tends to be something of a wild card. He can be built in a few different ways, and that fact, combined with the new Fog of War system in the game in which you can't see an enemy's item buys until they're in friendly field of vision, actually aids you in playing Vamana. Don't be afraid to initiate fights, but at the same time, know that you aren't often going to be the damage dealer of your team. When played well, Bali won't be the only one seeing the bottom of Vamana's foot. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe for new Introducing the Gods each week. As always, feel free to leave any suggestions for gods you wish to see sooner rather than later in the comments. And if you wish to see past episodes of Introducing the Gods, click through to the Pantheons now. Thanks, and goodbye.